All right, I'm about to go live. Well, that didn't play the entire intro. That was supposed to play the entire intro. It was going to get everybody hyped up.
I'm pretty hyped.
No, you know what? We're doing that over. Hang on, we're doing that over. We're doing it over. There we go. There we go. Now we're
That's
hyped
better.
up.
I'm hyped.
I'm hyped too. How's it going, everybody? My name is Amiibo Jason, and I am with my friend, my dear friend from across the sea, Hero TJ. How's it going, man?
Hi, everybody. It's going so good.
So here we are, our first live stream of 2021.
Correct.
Our first get-together since our last podcast, but we used to get together more frequently. Sadly, that stopped a bit. I had a kid. I had a baby.
Yeah,
Things
I
get a little
think
crazy.
that's probably most of it. I think everyone who has a kid can relate to how much that can disrupt a schedule. So, but we're here now.
Yeah.
E3 is happening now, and
It is.
Nintendo's presentation is right around the corner. You're gonna wake up to it, but for me, it's gonna start at 12 o'clock midnight tonight.
Oh my
So
God.
it's
That's
a little bit of a
impressive.
different experience.
That's impressive.
It's gonna be nice.
So, one sec. Out of curiosity,
Yeah, I
are
think that's-
you concerned at all about your state of mind if, because you're the resident Zelda guy, if Breath of the Wild 2 gets announced with very little sleep, do you feel like you're ready to like get to a hype level? 'Cause that at least I would expect of you.
You know, when the last time there was earth-shattering Zelda news was Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and I actually got that from you. You sent me a message that was like OMG or something like that, and I knew I missed something big when that happened. And then you just kind of like dropped it, like Hyrule Warrior sequel, you could play as the champions. It was something like that. And as soon as I heard that, I flew to the computer. I turned it on, and I watched the trailer. I was like hovering over my wife, who was sitting at the desk at the time, and she just started recording me, and I was like crying. It wasn't like man sobbing, but there was so much emotion in me that just needed to escape some way. And so I had like water coming out my tear ducts.
Yeah.
My nose was running. It was just like such an emotional blast that I don't think I could contain myself if something of that magnitude were to be announced. Although I can't imagine something that would be on that level. Like, to me, that was such an unexpected, shocking announcement about something that I had had a dream about. So it was really the literal dream fulfillment. And Breath of the Wild 2, I'm super excited for, but I've also had 2 years to think about and watch tons of speculation videos about.
Yeah.
So my mind is quite prepared for more information about that. So I don't know that it would like steamroll me quite as bad as that Hyrule Warriors.
You know,
did.
I felt that way
Got announced.
about Metroid Prime 4 when that first got announced. And it's been 4 years
Yeah.
since we got that announcement. So, I mean, it's
Was that
crazy.
announced in 2017?
That was, 2017.
So that was the first year of the Switch. There was the announcement of a Metroid.
Was it 2016?
Was it the year before Switch came out?
I'm
Did
trying
we
to
know about
think.
Metroid
You know,
Prime
I think
4
it was
before
20
Breath of the Wild released?
I don't think the Switch was out at that point. I could be totally wrong. I know
Wow.
it's been 4 years.
That is a long time. And there's still a few. I went back through all of Nintendo's past releases, not specifically what was announced at E3, but just their first party titles released by year, just to see if I could notice any sort of patterns. And not surprisingly, there is one or two Zelda games that released every single year.
Yeah.
And there is 1 to 3 Mario games that released every single year. So I don't think it's that surprising that we're going to get maybe more Zelda or more Mario announced. But we already know that we have Mario and Zelda this year. We already had Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury this year already.
Yep.
And we already know that we have Skyward Sword HD already. And we already know that Mario Golf, depending on whether or not you consider the Mario sports titles to be part of the Mario games, we know that Mario Golf is coming. So that's already 2 Mario titles. And we know that Breath of the Wild 2 is hovering somewhere on the horizon. It's got to be close to being done. Yeah. People were speculating that it might have even released in 2020 if it weren't for the delays in production. But I tend to doubt that now. I think that they are really starting to feel the pressure that it needs to be big, and so they went in and did a lot more than maybe was necessary to turn out a quick Majora's Mask style sequel in the same engine. And I don't really think that it's going to come out this year either. I think we'll see it at E3. But I don't think we're going to see. I think we'll get a release date.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're going to either get a window like holiday 2022, spring 2022. I think we'll get a trailer. We'll get a name. I think we're going to get something to at least hold us over. But I do want to really quick call out that we are going to be looking at chat to a certain level tonight. It's not going to be like completely interactive. I see we got a few donations from Honor D sent us a donation who wants us to do a Miitopia live stream. I think that's more for you, TJ, not for me. You're the
man, guy. I'm so into that game. I cannot even believe it. I'm into that game more than any other game I've ever played, with the possible exception of Zelda. So
are you going to do a live stream?
For Honor I don't D? Know. I'm so deep into it. I haven't recorded a lot of my playthrough, but I have made extremely liberal use of the capture function. And so maybe I'll do something. I definitely want to get involved in a deeper way with Miitopia. So maybe I'll make some kind of content related to it, but I don't think it'll be a live stream.
Yeah. So for tonight, I think the whole process of what we're going to do is obviously discuss what we think is going to happen, what we'd like to see, what we're probably not going to see. I think the big thing for everybody at this point is you have to hype responsibly. Don't get too excited. I think that's the big thing I've learned, at E3 this year. It's been a pretty mediocre show overall, at least in my opinion. Square Enix disappointed me. So Nintendo is kind of where I have all of my hopes, but I'm trying to keep it realistic at the same time. I'm not expecting all of these predictions to come true, but why don't we start with one that I'm assuming we will see, and that's going to be Splatoon 3.
Okay, I'm assuming we won't see Splatoon 3.
Really, no Splatoon 3.
I think because they already treated Splatoon 3 as their one more in the Direct earlier this year, and we saw a little bit more of it than I thought.
Yeah.
And it's not coming out until 2022, which you already know. So I think that it would have very little impact at this juncture because it's far enough away where I imagine it might even be like a summer game. Yeah. So they probably can have another direct about it. So are they going to show us Splatoon 3 times?
They might
before it comes out. It's possible. They've done it before. Like Breath of the Wild was drip fed spanning console generations. Yeah. So it's possible that we could see it, but I would think not. I tend to think that might be a little bit of a waste of their time unless they were trying to pad the show out.
Yeah. And I really don't want to spend a lot of time on this one specifically, and I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I'm not a massive Splatoon fan. I play it. My daughter loves it. But it's not something that I would lose my mind over if they announced it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, too, I'm not expecting a lot of announcements tomorrow that's going to, make me lose my mind. I'm coming to terms that I just need to be more realistic with my expectations. But Splatoon 3, you're saying no. I'm saying maybe.
I do have an adjacent prediction to that.
Sure.
I do think that we're at the beginning of Nintendo's soft reset. And you've heard me mention this in the past, but I think we're even more on the precipice of it now.
Yeah.
Where when you go back through all of the titles and franchises that have released for the Switch, they've used every single one that they have except for the ones that always get overlooked. And so now it's time to start seeing round 2 of some of those titles. And Splatoon 3, I think, is an example of that. In year 1, we got Splatoon 2. And so now they're going back to the well. So we already know Splatoon 3 is coming. We already know that we're getting the sequel to Mario and Rabbids, which also came out in year 1. And we already know I wasn't too surprised that there was a sequel because the game did pretty well, and it was an effective enough collaboration. But while I do own the game, I don't. It just didn't really hold my attention for too long, and I don't think that that's not intended to be a criticism of the game. It's more that there were always other games I would rather be playing, and that holds true today.
Fun though. Here's the reason for me why it hit. It was different. It was very different. It was something you didn't see Mario doing. You never saw Mario dual wielding guns.
Right.
I mean, they were laser guns, but they were still guns. He was shooting people. It was so bizarre. It had nothing going for it. I mean, nobody liked the Rabbids at that point.
Right.
Nobody liked the Rabbids. And I think when you were crossing a series so beloved as the Mario franchise with Rabbids, it was gonna be something that I think was gonna be polarizing. I picked it up with that expectation, and I was blown away that, and I'm gonna say this now, and I need grace from you and the audience. I was endeared by the Rabbids. The Rabbids endeared me. The Rabbids made me feel happy, and it was a fun game. I enjoyed it.
I'm with you on that. I actually expected to like it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think what really got me is the strategy element. That's not how my brain works. I'm more like a fast twitch kind of player where I want to push a button and swing a sword. When I have to think about the chess style aspect of games, it slows down the pacing for me a lot, and I just start, instead of making the best, most strategic choices, I just make the most expedient choices, which it does at some point. You can kind of get away with that in the early game, but as you start getting later into it, you have to really understand the mechanics.
You're the guy who made Smash Chess. This game should be for you.
I know. I love the cutscenes, and I think that the treatment that they did with Mario was so impressive that it can pass for a Nintendo game. It definitely has that Nintendo brand quality, and I think that this one is even more impressive looking. It also introduces not my favorite Mario character, Rosalina. Okay. And I think it.
You mean wait? You mean the winner of Smash Supremacy? Yes. Rosalina. That Rosalina.
Yes. Yeah. That's
the strongest amiibo.
Strongest amiibo in Super Smash Brothers is Rosalina. It is proven, tried and tested. Don't believe me? Check out Smash Supremacy. But Rosalina, I feel like is kind of an unjustified upstart. Like, she went from not being in anything to being in everything, and character-wise, she doesn't really have any character. So I'm not drawn to her.
She's she's emo. She's like the emo queen. Who could be Princess Peach's mom?
Yeah, potentially. I would really personally much rather see Daisy and Wario and Waluigi and these characters who are oozing personality. And
they were in the game. Waluigi was in the game.
Was he?
It was Waluigi. Waluigi.
Rabbid.
It was a Rabid version of Waluigi. But either way, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the game. Grant Kirkhope is doing the soundtrack once again.
Awesome.
When I hear his music, especially in this game, it reminds me of when I was like 10 years old walking through an amusement park. It's upbeat and it's cheery and it's just happy, and it's very different from the jazzy sound we get from Mario games. And again, I think that's one of the reasons why it's a nice contrast of something that I didn't think I'd like and something that I'm very passionate about. So Mario Rabbids 2, bring it on. I'm excited.
And they also had the Donkey Kong DLC. And I think that the franchise is successful enough. But going back to Nintendo, kind of going back to the beginning, Donkey Kong is also a title that has never had an original game on Switch. Yeah. And Tropical Freeze came out in year 2 in 2018. So I do think that Donkey Kong is nearing his time in the queue. True. And also Kirby was an early 2018 game. There probably is a Kirby game that is ready to go sometime soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we're not considering our annualized franchises, which pretty much are limited to Mario, Zelda and Pokemon. So we can we're on Switch if they maintain their current schedule, and they are. It's already confirmed to be true for 2022 if you consider that we have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl coming out. That's Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon covered already in this year. So
perfect time for a Switch Pro.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing anything Switch Pro during E3 at all.
Yeah, I've come to terms that the leakers were toying with me. They were wrong. They got my hopes up again. We'll talk about that at some point, maybe tonight. I'm not sure. Do you guys want to talk about Switch Pro? Let us know in chat. I don't know.
To put a cap on this prediction, we know we got the top 3 covered. I think that next in the queue is Donkey Kong, Kirby, and Mario Kart.
Got it.
So those are the ones, and Mario Kart is a heavy hitter. So if that does come out this year, I think it would be a holiday title.
Yeah, let's talk about Mario Kart just a bit. Mario Kart 8 has been going strong now for 7 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
7-8 years?
I'm not sure exactly when it released on the Wii U, but it was definitely one of the crowning achievements on the Wii U, and its success on the Switch eclipsed that of its Wii U counterpart and just about every other title on any other system.
Mario Kart is the quintessential family game. If you're buying a Switch for your family, you're buying Mario Kart, bar none. It's just, it makes sense. Dad knows about Mario Kart. Mom knows how to play Mario Kart. Everybody loves Mario Kart. I'm at a place with Mario Kart where I feel like, and we've talked about this at length, I feel like the mobile game, Mario Kart Tour, has opened the door up for unrealistic expectations of what you can expect from a Mario game. There's so much diversity. And Nintendo's going to have to do something big, in my opinion, with Mario Kart 9 to get past what they've done with Mario Kart Tour. And I think the only way that's going to happen is if they open up the roster to Nintendo characters. And
I think so too, which they've already done.
They have with Link and what was it? Animal Crossing
and Splatoon also. So it's already 3 non-Nintendo franchises.
And Link's in there too. I keep forgetting Link's in Mario Kart. There. So I guess we're already to that point. So when do we just stop calling it Mario Kart and we start calling it Nintendo Kart? I mean, Mario Kart is name, though. It's that name recognition.
Yeah, I think never. The name recognition is so key. I think you're okay calling it Mario Kart and then just putting in any Nintendo characters that you want, because I don't think it would really add anything to you don't need to acknowledge those other characters in the title. The Mario Kart says it all. Yeah. Even though those characters are not from any Mario game in specific, we accept them as guests. Yeah. I think we're going to be seeing more of that as time goes on. My prediction is that they need to take a little bit of what they did with the mobile app for the next console title, but to make it be uniquely console, I think they go season pass route. I think they do kind of what they did with Super Smash Brothers, where they know that they can sell you content for this game over the long haul. And
Mario if Kart they can 8, that was the first set of Nintendo paid DLC in history.
I think for Wii U?
For the Wii U. And
yeah, I bought it instantly, I remember. I didn't know it was first.
People were concerned about it. That because Nintendo was always very anti-DLC, and this dates me to a certain degree. But back in the Wii U days and beforehand, people liked Nintendo because you bought a Nintendo game, you got what you got. There was no horse armor DLC like in Skyrim.
Right.
You got what you got. And then they announced this and everybody was concerned. But Nintendo, and I've said this before, Nintendo knows how to do DLC in a way that is beneficial for them and in a way that gets people excited to purchase stuff. I think maybe the closest thing Nintendo has to these little microtransactions outside of their mobile games is like the costumes in Smash Bros. But even then, those are relatively inexpensive. You don't need them to really enjoy the game. But for the most part, Nintendo's paid DLC, like the big stuff, the racers in Mario Kart or the characters in Smash, they have a lot of like high production value. It's worth your money. So
sure, and even if you look at
season pass, let them go season pass.
Yeah, and Zelda added some incredible DLC to and bits, and Pokemon had some good DLC. Yeah. As far as DLC goes, I don't think Nintendo has ever disappointed, at least as far as I'm concerned. Any game that I've purchased DLC for, I was glad that I got it.
Yep. The
So
closest to it is the asinine amount of microtransactions in Mario Kart Tour. It's to a point where
yeah,
it's so ridiculous. And I get it's a gotcha game, and there's gotcha
right.
fans in the chat. Ricky Berg, editor at Nintendo Wire, he knows all about gotcha games. He's a big Fire Emblem Heroes fan. I just can't get behind spending real money for a 1 in 50 chance of pulling a character. I just can't do it.
Yeah, same here. I hate that aspect of the game, but there are things that Mario Kart uh, Tour
Yeah.
contributes that I feel like they could borrow and add into the console version that would enhance it.
Yeah.
I love the challenges. I love that the game has these constant leaderboards. The way that it keeps you going back to playing,
Yeah.
you know, it has reasons to make you log in all the
It
time.
does. It does.
That the console version doesn't. And being able to explore these courses with goals in mind,
Yeah.
other than just winning, is a really exciting way to be able to expand the content of the game. Winning is fun. Getting first place is a great way to play, and that's never going away. But being able to create other challenges to go and try to create this checklist of different things you could do really lets you explore these courses and these characters. And I think that would be a really great way to bring that to the console and give you something more to do in Mario Kart without having to really do more.
Yeah.
All you're really doing is saying, hey, instead of winning this time, see how many times you can hit the other guys with a red shell. Can you do 5 red shell hits during this one, or 5 green shell hits? I would probably feel compelled to attempt to do that.
Oh, I agree.
There's something about that makes me want to keep going back and try to do it.
I mean, Mario Kart Tour, if they released that on home console, I'd be playing it more. The touch controls, the tilt controls too, they're not my cup of tea for the most part. They're intuitive. I mean, they make sense for the platform that they're on. But yeah, I agree. If they incorporated more of that into the home console release, I'd be totally happy with that. Minus the asinine microtransactions. But again, Nintendo typically doesn't do that on the home console.
No, I don't think we're going to see microtransactions. I think the closest thing we would see to that is like the Mii costumes in Smash Brothers, where maybe you could get like Sushi Chef Mario or Christmas dress Rosalina if you wanted to drop 75 cents or whatever the case may be. But I think it's more likely that it would be similar to the Fighters Passes that you get from Super Smash Brothers, where you have like a bunch of different things that you're adding, like maybe a whole roster of different characters. On the subject of DLC, my next prediction is I think we're going to get some paid Animal Crossing DLC announced.
DLC, eh?
There's a lot of features in Animal Crossing that we're still missing from previous games, and I think that this first paid DLC update will kind of focus around things to do with your friends online. Like we had Tortimer's Island on the previous one, which to me, once I finished everything I wanted to do in Animal Crossing, I love that background.
I had to. You're talking Animal Crossing. I gotta go
that's
to the
perfect. So in the island, that was where my post game was spent in Animal Crossing New Leaf. Even after I'd completed everything I wanted to do, I would still be able to go out there and play mini games with my brother and my friends who really liked it, and my daughter. We really liked playing that together. And I don't have that with New Horizons, and I feel like that's what New Horizons is missing. And if you could find some way to even repurpose mini games that have appeared in previous Animal Crossing games and integrate that into New Horizons, I think that has a lot of value, especially if it's things that you can do online with friends. It would motivate people to get into Nintendo Online if they don't already have that. I think a lot of people who are hold-offs but are into Animal Crossing would probably bite the bullet there just so that they can have a little bit more interactivity and connectivity. And Animal Crossing Online has been one of the underutilized aspects of the game, I think, to the point where a lot of people are kind of bugged by it. Yeah. Because not only are the features so limited, but it's really annoying and inconvenient. But if they could find some way to streamline that a little bit and then give you, I don't know, like 8 to 12 little micro experiences where you go in and dig for fossils with a bunch of friends or play tag, it seems so ripe for that.
That's the biggest problem with Animal Crossing right now is the lack of organized games. I mean, we had that to an extent in New Leaf with the island. You know, Tortimer was, on the island. He's telling you what to do. It was fun stuff. it's the biggest issue that I think I have right now with the game, where you have to make up your own games, your own rules, and I mean there's no consistency to it. Some
Right.
people do really good stuff. They have like what was it? Deal or No Deal. Somebody made a Deal or No Deal game. That's super impressive. But yeah, I would kill for some like really cool games. Even the Desert Island Escape that was part
Yeah.
of the best Animal Crossing game in my opinion, Animal Crossing
Absolutely.
Amiibo Festival.
Sorry to everyone who missed out on that gem.
Wildly underrated. We need a Switch re-release of that at some point. But they ported that little mini game, the Island Adventure, to New Leaf. Oh no, I think we lost TJ. We're gonna see if we can get him back. But while we're waiting on TJ to possibly come back, they had this really cool mini game that they ported over to New Leaf where you could actually do Desert Island Escape, and it was pretty great. TJ, are you back? Did I lose you? Did we lose him? All right, we're gonna see if we can. There he is.
Oh,
You're back. You're back. I think. Are you back? You're being quiet. Can you hear me? Okay. I think he can hear me. Or he's messing with me. I don't know if he's messing with me. See, this always has... Something has to happen. Every single time. He's being very, very quiet. All right, I'm going to hang up on TJ. And I'm going to call him back. TJ, buddy, can you hear me?
hey man.
He's back.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right,
Yeah,
you were
so
back. I could see you. You were live, but
Yeah, my screen was frozen. I couldn't tell if you guys could hear me or not.
oh yeah, we could see and hear you. So we were on the Desert Island Escape.
Yeah.
portion
So
of it.
so my thought is that maybe the DLC is a little island that you can get to from your island,
Yeah.
just like Tortimer. So if you don't have the DLC, it doesn't really impact your game at all.
Yeah.
But if you do have it, then you can maybe reconnect with our friend Cap'n, and Cap'n will take us
Cap'n.
out to this little island. He's been a missing element of this game. There's also a few other characters that are fan favorites. I know you hate Brewster, but there are some people
how
out there who
dare
like
you.
Brewster.
How dare you.
I'm just
Brewster
kidding.
is this addition that I've been I assumed he would be at least in year one, and I was blown away that he hasn't made an appearance yet. I guess E3 would be a good time for Brewster to come out. I mean,
Sure.
I think I've mentioned this before. My favorite part of New Leaf was memorizing coffee orders. I loved it. It was a sense of pride. I had to, make pigeon milk lattes. No idea where that pigeon milk came from. There's only one pigeon on the whole island. And I don't think he milks or lactates, but I could be wrong.
What if you could somehow make coffees and send them to other players, and
Yeah.
that would have some sort of in-game impact? That would be pretty cool.
I'd be all about that. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you that we'll more than likely see something Animal Crossing related. It makes sense. It's still, in my opinion, such a phenomenon, but I do think it's losing its player base. Even Lauren, my wife, Happily Candied, doesn't play all that much anymore. And it's just, obviously our lives are very different. We have 2 kids now, and homeschooling and COVID and all that other stuff. So it makes it more difficult. But I do think that would get people to jump back in. I really do.
Sure. And I'm also hoping that we're going to get something similar to what we got with Mario crossover content. I'm hoping that they bring in some of that Zelda stuff. I don't think that it's too unsurprising if they do, because there have already been Zelda items in Mario Kart. I'm sorry, not Mario Kart, in Animal Crossing in the past. Although it'd be nice to get them into this game, and I'd certainly go in there and collect them all and then forget all about the game again, just like I keep doing. I went and got all those Mario ones. That was fun for what it was. And now I'm ready to go get the Zelda ones.
Oh, and that, I think, should we go to the Zelda topic? You know what, before we do, let's close on that. I want to close on it. Because I strongly believe that we're going to see 35th Zelda content. And I think it's going to be great. I don't know if you saw this or not, and this is kind of a segue into what we'll talk about later. Have you seen the GameStop news? Like the GameStop poster?
I saw that poster, and I wish that there was some way I could get my hands on that poster. It is, dude, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous.
Here's the thing. I mean, they're available as of now at GameStop if you spend $30 on Zelda stuff. Part of me feels like the promotion was set to go live alongside a 35th anniversary Zelda announcement. I
Probably.
sincerely believe we're going to get more than Breath of the Wild 2 and Skyward Sword news. I think we're going to, bare minimum, get Twilight Princess and Wind Waker on the Switch this year.
Really, I'd be surprised because when you think about how much Zelda that would be, because we already have 3 Zelda things in the pipeline that well,
Look at all the Mario stuff we had for the year of the Mario.
yeah, we
The
had
year of the Mario.
Mario. Now, if you include things that were part of Nintendo's fiscal year, but not necessarily part of the calendar year, then we had Mario 3D All Stars,
Yep.
Mario 35, Paper Mario. That was all in 2020, and
What
then
about Luigi's Mansion 3? What was that? Was that 2019?
Luigi's Mansion 3 was 2019.
Okay.
And then we had Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which released at the top of this year,
Yeah.
which was still part of Nintendo's fiscal year, and Nintendo still included that in Mario's 35th anniversary. Yeah. So there was really one new online experience, one rehash of old 3D games, and one port of a Wii U title, and then the new Paper Mario. So really not that much. We already sort of have that with Zelda, where we have the rehash of a Wii title,
yeah.
and then we have the new Zelda, which will probably fill that like it'll probably close out Nintendo's fiscal year in 2022, if I had to guess. So we got Breath of the Wild 2 not making it into this year, but next year. Yeah. There's not that much room to put another Zelda title. And plus, we know that we also have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC, which will release this year. So that's 3, and we have a new Zelda Amiibo and new Zelda controllers.
I do too. Is that so bad to want more?
I would take every single thing. They could port if they were to announce tomorrow, hey, guess what? Every single Zelda game that's ever been made is being ported to the Switch. It costs $1,000. I'd be like, here's the direct deposit to my savings.
Yeah.
I will buy everything, but that's a me thing. I think if they're looking at the best way to get the most bang for their buck, they're not competing with Microsoft or Sony. They're competing for dollars for how much my wallet can withstand.
Yeah.
And that's the bigger concern, because if they were to dump everything in the next 6 months, then they're limiting what people are actually able to buy. Whereas if they drip feed it over the next several years, then there is a Zelda game that they can release every single year, which is what they've been doing. So I think it behooves them to hold off on those titles.
It is the 35th anniversary. They're going to talk about it. They have to.
They will. Absolutely.
Here's my... And I guess we're just talking Zelda now, so that's fine. I predict that we are going to get an Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D HD remake this year.
Oh, that...
I don't think it's going to be like a full remake. I think it's going to be, they're going to base it on the 3D games, and I think they're going to upscale them to HD. And I believe that's going to be our 35th anniversary surprise.
I hope so. I don't know if you saw my last edition of Me Weekly, but that was exactly how I closed out the episode, was hoping that instead of Twilight Princess HD, instead of Wind Waker HD, give those things a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah.
Let's do some enhanced ports of the 3DS versions of Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, package them together, release it as one title, and that would be glorious.
I just want to see Ocarina of Time on the Switch.
Me too.
I miss playing it. I actually still play it on my 3DS pretty frequently. Just there's a boss rush mode that's in the 3D version that is one of the best quality of life improvements on that game I've ever had, because it just lets me pick it up in a whim and like just say I want to mess up Goma. Like,
yeah,
I can just go and mess up Goma. I can use a Deku stick only. I can do whatever I want. It's fun. It's just a fun experience, and I want that experience on the Switch. And Nintendo's weird lack of a virtual console. I know they have Nintendo Switch Online. It doesn't really count, at least in my opinion. It's keeping me longing for some of these experiences that I took for granted that, on the Wii U, they didn't care. They just threw everything out there. You want Donkey Kong 64? You can have Donkey Kong 64. You want Ocarina of Time? You can have Ocarina of Time. That's not the world that Nintendo's living in anymore. They are going a very different route with how they're distributing their old games. And
Yeah.
That's their business decision. It's not necessarily my favorite thing that they've ever done. But I've accepted it. But I want to play those games again on the Switch, and hopefully that'll happen.
I personally prefer the way that they're going about it in the way when you think Link's Awakening, which came back in 2019.
Yeah.
I would rather they do that, where they take a title that I've already played through twice and they do enough to it to make me feel like playing it again is not only a nostalgic experience, but it's also a new experience.
Yeah.
I would rather that than they just dump a port of the previous one on the Switch. And I know that requires a lot more of them in the development department,
Yeah.
but I also feel like that allows them to increase the value of it. Whereas they probably couldn't sell a Game Boy game for more than $5.
Yeah.
They could sell that to me for $60, the remake. If they were to do that with all the old Zelda titles, then I think that that's a lot more exciting, and I think it distinguishes the remake from the original in a way that makes the experience new.
And we've talked about this before, from a effort reward, so kind of a mentality for Nintendo.
Yeah.
If Nintendo said, you know what, we're gonna spend some money on making Mario 64 the best it can be and re-release it that way.
Yeah.
Would it have sold any better than Mario 3D All Stars did?
No.
And the
No.
fact that Nintendo just slapped that together with not a care in the world, like to the fact where Mario Sunshine, they couldn't get new voice recordings for Flood, and there's certain things that Flood says that alludes to the GameCube controller. So all they did was mute the lines that Flood said that related to the GameCube controller instead of re-recording them. That's how little they cared about those games. They didn't give a crap about those games. They threw them on a cart in the easiest form possible, and they sold them, and I bought a copy because I'm
same.
a sucker.
So did I. Me too.
And I think I feel like that has given Nintendo this feeling, and whether it's warranted or not, that their classic games are perfect as is, which in some cases I think they are. And they have to do next to nothing, and they can keep selling them for a premium.
Well, can I offer a counterpoint to that?
Go for it.
I think that Zelda is not as bulletproof as Mario. I think that they know that they can get away with being a little bit cheaper with Mario than their other franchises, because Mario, there's nothing that they can release of Mario that will diminish his cachet. Mario is going to be a popular seller no matter what, but their other properties can be damaged. If you release a bad or low quality Zelda game or Donkey Kong game or Kirby game, it will diminish the value of that franchise. And Mario doesn't suffer from that same problem. So we can see they could be a lot riskier with releasing subpar Mario content than they can with some of those other franchises, which are very successful, but would take a hit if they had a flop.
So let me play devil's advocate. Let's say they went the route of releasing Ocarina of Time with no quality of life improvements whatsoever.
You're talking about like just a straight N64 port?
Straight port.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There would be, and I would buy it. You would buy it. I'm sure you
I would buy it. Yeah.
There would be so many people defending that decision.
Yeah.
Saying that this is the purest version of the game. I don't want it different. That I don't think it would diminish anything from Nintendo's side to not do that. I think it's easy money. They could, again, because it's a Zelda game, they could say $20. $20 for this emulated copy of Ocarina of Time.
If they did do something like that, then, and they couched it as, hey, this is the original experience as it was originally created. If you want to see where it all started, then you can pick this up for $20. But I think if they were to do something that where like when people talk about Mario 3D All-Stars, the conversation doesn't go more than a sentence or two without people mentioning what a bare bones, stripped down, low effort port it is. And I don't think they want that sort of conversation to be around the Zelda ones also. So if they were to just grab a bunch of Zelda games and put them together, I think you'd have to make the price very low and the messaging very clear. If it's possible to confuse the experience of Ocarina of Time with Breath of the Wild, then that would be extremely damaging.
Yeah.
You can't be somebody who played Breath of the Wild as your primary experience with the Legend of Zelda series and then have that expectation in mind when you pick up Ocarina of Time and to have all that N64 nostalgic jank. You just can't go backwards. I couldn't even go backwards from GameCube's Wind Waker to the N64 title. I loved them at the time, but
you could do it.
I tried.
It's muscle memory.
Not for me. I'm old, Jason.
You're old. I'm old. Whatever.
The smoothness.
Gray.
The smoothness that Wind Waker had over Ocarina of Time made it so that it was difficult to tolerate the way that the character was less responsive. Yeah. I had no problems when it was the only way that I experienced it, but every Zelda game makes the previous Zelda game just a little bit less playable. And the HD remakes help to mitigate a lot of that because Wind Waker HD plays like a dream. So I would hope that they don't go that route, although you never know because there's obviously a precedent for doing it. They've re-released Ocarina of Time in its original form multiple times.
Yeah, several times. Yeah, and I've
purchased it every
single time. And there's no way that I can convert my Wii U copy to the Switch or vice versa. They know what they're doing. They're going to milk, at least in my lifetime, for the next 10 years. I hope to God I live more than 10 years. But I would say in the next 10 years, I'll buy that game 3 more times.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure that'll happen.
But back to the GameStop poster, there's already far more than $30 worth of items that we know about that you could spend on. You buy just that Zelda amiibo, and that you're right there.
Yeah,
that Zelda amiibo and anything else.
I'm fairly certain that doesn't count towards it, but
how would it not?
It's a Zelda product, select
right?
Zelda merchandise, and you can't pre-order that stuff anymore.
And I'm sure that the Zelda Joy-Cons probably count towards that, right?
Yeah, but you can't pre-order those anymore either. You're over in Taiwan, the land of plenty, when we're here in the U.S. and pre-orders last 5 minutes. You should know this.
There are no pre-orders here, but so far I haven't had any trouble getting anything. Although Ring Fit was really tough to get, and I just got really lucky that I was able to have a friend pre-order it for me. That's the only pre-order thing that I've even seen out here.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. The Zelda, I don't know how popular Zelda is. If it's anything like Monster Hunter, I'm in big trouble when it comes to trying to get a hold of some of the physical stuff. With the games, it's not an issue because everything I get is digital. But I'm going to try to get that Zelda amiibo, and I'm going to try to get those Joy-Cons. And I don't know how competitive that's going to be. Yeah. But we already have a ton of fun and exciting Zelda stuff coming. I don't know how much more the market can bear, but I will take
Give me all of it.
I'll take everything.
If they and they're not going to do this, if they released it in one package, it would be easier. If they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. We're going to give you Wind Waker. We're going to give you Twilight Princess and this amazing, beautiful box set. Perfect for the holiday to keep you, I don't know, like to wean you into the wait for Breath of the Wild 2. $60 for these 4 classic games. That would work, right? One package, 4 games.
I think that the value proposition is certainly there, but
for me and you, but for Nintendo, that's a $200 package.
Yeah, they could sell it as for $200, so I don't think that they would sell it for $60.
Yeah,
but you just never know. I'm also the same guy who said they would never put all 3 3D Mario games together. I thought that they would sell all those separately.
Yeah,
but I didn't know what a lackluster job they're going to do on it.
Still no Galaxy 2 news though. That's still so weird to me. That was.
I wonder if they just had a harder time integrating the controls.
I think they're just like, I don't want to sell this for $60. They're like, we're gonna have to milk another $20 out of those suckers at some point.
Yeah, this one requires. Maybe they release that one before Galaxy 3.
Yeah. So I want to touch on Breath of the Wild 2 last. I do want to touch on 2 things that I'm shocked that we haven't even brought up yet, and that's Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
And the inevitability of maybe not even just one. We might get both of the remaining DLC characters tomorrow. I think bare minimum we're going to get one.
Absolutely. There's no way we get through E3 without at least one of those characters being revealed. That's a 100% certainty.
I guess the grapevine is saying Doomslayer. There's a leak of Doomslayer, but leaks are
I,
BS at this point.
I say no, not Doomslayer.
I think
I don't know who it
Doomslayer-
is, but I know it's not Doomslayer.
I like the idea of Doomslayer. I love the idea of Scorpion or Sub-Zero because I think that they fit in the game.
Yeah, that would never happen, but I love it.
Waluigi, in my opinion, will be the last fighter, either in
Dude.
one or two ways. It's either going to be he's going to be the last fighter in the fighter pass, or it's going to be a surprise. Like, guess what? We have one more character in the fighter pass, and it's Waluigi. Waluigi is getting in Smash. I promise you.
You know, that's close to one of my predictions. And so one of my other predictions is Nintendo will reveal both of the final fighters in the Fighters Pass, but there will be one more Smash surprise.
Yeah.
I don't think that surprise is, hey, guess what? There's a Fighters Pass 3. I think Sakurai is ready to be done. But it might be, hey, we have one more character, or hey, we have one more mode, or just one more thing that you did not yet know about Smash Brothers. But I'm not 100% certain that one more thing, as it relates to Super Smash Brothers, will be announced or revealed at E3. It may be closer to the end of the Fighters Pass, but I am predicting that both characters in that are remaining in the Fighters Pass will be announced.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm still significantly hoping for one of two. Crash Bandicoot needs to be in Smash. And
I want him to.
That is strictly, at least for me, based on this 90s fantasy of Sega, Nintendo, and Sony fighting.
Totally.
I mean, that was our entire, our childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the commercials with Crash outside of Nintendo's headquarters with the boombox, like Plumber Boy. Remember the Plumber Boy thing?
that is the reveal trailer. I totally remember that. That was like a seminal moment of my childhood. That was the beginning of the three-party system, where we had, at the time, it was Sega, Nintendo, and Sony. Now it's Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. But that was the first time where really a viable third system went mainstream. There were, of course, other ones like TurboGrafx 16, but they just never permeated the market in the same way that Sega and Nintendo did. And then once Sony came out with the original PlayStation, it kind of took the gaming community by storm, and we really had three pillars. And Crash is the strongest representative of that. If I had to make a prediction of who these last two characters are, these are not necessarily who I want. These are just who I think. I'm going to take a page out of Nintendo's last big E3 reveal, which was Hero and Banjo-Kazooie. They had Hero being a character who is not widely known in the West from a series that's not very popular in the West, being Dragon Quest, but extremely popular in Japan. It is making some headway, but at the time, there weren't really very many successful Dragon Quest titles in America or North America. Europe rather. But Banjo-Kazooie is a character who wasn't really popular in Japan. That was a Western character. So I think they're going to kind of mirror that, and we're going to get a character that's very popular from a series that's very popular in Japan, but not in America, that being the Tales of series. And I think it's going to be Lloyd Irving, who is also the only Mii costume from the Wii U version that has not migrated over to the Switch.
Conspiracy theory.
And then I think the Western character is going to be Crash Bandicoot.
I'd like that.
So I think that would be
Waluigi at some point too.
It would be such an amazing thing for them to, because back in 2018 E3 was when Smash was first announced.
Yeah.
Or was it? That was where they did the big E3 event. The game released in 2018. Yeah. At tail end, and they had. Oh, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, they revealed the assist trophies, and the first assist trophy that we saw was Waluigi, which basically deconfirmed him as a character in base game. And he runs in with his racket, gets slammed off the screen by Marth. I think it would be amazing if they were to sort of echo that reveal, but instead of getting slammed off the screen, Waluigi gets to strike back and cut his way into the main cast.
I like that.
That would be a dream. I really enjoy and appreciate Waluigi. I wouldn't say I'm like this diehard Luigi fan, but he feels so appropriate for Smash. Something tells me he's not ever getting in, but I think it would be tremendously amazing if he did.
I'm on the screen twice. I see. I have an Amiibo video playing right now, because obviously the segue into a Smash character is, are we going to get a Amiibo drop? Um, I am dying for a new Smash Amiibo, especially Sephiroth, Min
Yeah.
Min. I mean, there's so many amazing Amiibo that I want to see. Um, I do want to just, I guess, end it real quick with my Smash prediction here, that I'm excited for whatever it's going to be. It's been one hell of a journey with this Fighter Pass. And I think Nintendo is doing so much good stuff right now that the Smash character reveal is probably the least talked about thing on the internet right now about Nintendo. And that's saying something, because Smash was Nintendo's bread and butter. And that was it.
Yeah.
Like, people, they were like, what's it going to be? Who's the fighter going to be? What's the reveal? And now there's just so many other things on people's minds. So I'm excited to see what it's going to be. I think it's going to be fun stuff. But from an Amiibo standpoint, I think we're going to get something. My guess is it's going to be kind of like what happened last year. We're going to get the direct, and then it's going to happen during the treehouse. They're going to have the Amiibo on the stage. I really, really want to see Sephiroth, though. I'm a massive Final Fantasy VII fan. I want Sephiroth.
I think you're going to see Min Min, and you're probably going to see Steve. And I think that Sephiroth is a big maybe. A big maybe.
Did you see the guy's wingspan, though? Like, that's going to be a massive Amiibo.
He's only got one wing, though, so I don't think it'll be much bigger than Pit or a Dark Pit.
I don't know. I saw the concept art of it, or the render of it, and it just looks so cool. Everything about it is just perfect.
Are you hoping that they bypass the default and just go straight
for the shirtless? No, not. You know why I don't want that? Because I want you to make a custom of it.
Shirtless.
I will commission that custom from you, whatever it costs.
That's hilarious.
So we have that.
How about on the Amiibo front?
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance that we're going to see any non-Smash related Amiibo? Like maybe connected to Breath of the Wild 2. I know we were together when we saw all of the original Breath of the Wild Amiibo for the first time.
That was breathtaking.
And the Champions Amiibo, it was breathtaking.
I remember, so that was the first E3 you and I were together at.
Yeah.
And I remember we went to the show floor, and I think I shouted at you, "They have the Amiibo on display." And we beelined it to the Amiibo cabinet. And it was just simply amazing. Like,
it was
especially
so
because
good.
we had this bendy, like, Guardian Amiibo. It was amazing.
Yeah, there were a lot of Amiibo surprises there. I do hope that they do something similar with Breath of the Wild 2, where we get like 5 or 6 new Amiibo, but I'm not holding my breath. I think it might be 1 or something like that, and I don't know that we're ready at that stage with this game. It's probably January or so that we see if there's any Amiibo functionality, which I imagine there probably will be, since Skyward Sword has some. But what it is, and if there are any new Amiibo, I think that's not an announcement for tonight. Well, tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I think so too. I do think that one series will get some sort of an Amiibo announcement outside of Smash. What that is, I don't know.
Oh, dude.
But I think
what could it be? What could it be? Like, what if you just had to throw it out there? What could possibly get one other than Smash or Zelda?
I mean, there's already 3 Samus Amiibo out right now, plus the Metroid squishy one.
You want one of my remaining predictions?
Sure. What do you got?
We are not going to get anything meaningful for a Metroid or Bayonetta.
Bayonetta, I've already assumed is whenever it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Metroid, I think it's highly likely it'll get like a mention.
Yeah.
Maybe like a tiny little taste more than we got at the original reveal with the Splash trailer.
Yeah.
Splash logo. I think that's going to be it. Nothing meaningful, nothing significant, nothing important.
I think Metroid Prime 4 is, and I've said this to you at least once, I think Metroid Prime 4 is heavily delayed due to a Switch Pro launch. I think if you're going to launch the Switch Pro with a powerhouse looking game, not a powerhouse franchise, because you and I disagree, I think, to a certain degree of how successful Metroid really is as a franchise at this point. But Metroid Prime, the GameCube iterations and the one we got on the Wii, they were gorgeous games. They pushed what the GameCube could do. It was, in my opinion, compared to the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the GameCube, Metroid Prime was the best looking first person shooter on any platform.
That could be, and those games are well regarded. They're just modest sales. So I think as a 1-2 punch, like let's say they released it with Breath of the Wild or the next installment in the 3D Mario series and Metroid, I think Metroid is an amazing plus pickup. Like you need your Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And then you pick up Metroid as an and then, not as the seller, because Metroid's not going to sell the system, but it could be a great ancillary pickup just to show how beautiful Switch Plus games could be. I think that would be a much more successful prospect than if they were to try to say, buy it for this game, which hasn't had a mainline release in over 10 years.
They want to sell this to the audience of Nintendo, you and I, and the people watching this video. This audience is going to buy it pretty much no matter what. Or they already own a Switch. So that's fine. I think to show off the power of the Switch Pro, you do it with the first-person shooter. When you do it with first-person shooter, you can't get on any other platform. You show them Doom Eternal, they have Doom Eternal. It's on PlayStation, it's on Xbox.
And it's probably better on PlayStation and Xbox than it will be on Switch Pro or
but
whatever.
But if you show them a 4K, gritty-looking first-person shooter that they can only play on Nintendo on this shiny new Switch Pro, I think that they're going to bring a new audience in. And I think it's going to elevate the Switch from something that's like, oh, there's only kiddie games from Nintendo on there, from look at this amazing looking first person shooter. And I think that's why they're delaying it. Am I always wrong? Yeah, I'm pretty much.
No,
wrong.
you can always lean back on Bayonetta.
On
Nobody called.
Bayonetta's my one.
Nobody called
response.
Bayonetta but you.
Everybody called. We've talked about this. Everybody called Bayonetta.
Nobody did. That was the first. Well, I guess Snake was a mature character in Smash, but Bayonetta was an unexpected mature character getting into Smash. I think you raised some good points about Metroid. It could be a part of its delay, but I think that we already are aware of some of the other delays that Nintendo was uncharacteristically transparent about, like the game having to go direct back to the drawing board to the extent where they actually made a video update about it being delayed. Plus, we've seen some job listings that are connected to the game, so it's had a litany of delays, and that could be among them certainly. So I'm not sure about that, but what I am feeling, and I could be wrong, but I'm feeling like we're not going to get a substantial update on Metroid in this presentation.
4 years, man. 4 years.
I know.
4 years. All right.
Metroid don't get no love.
I have a Metroid slide that I have here, just because I'm excited.
Can I drop a list of absent franchises on you, and you tell me if there's any chance that any of these are going to make an appearance?
Is Mother 3 one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, these are franchises, not games.
Okay.
So, F-Zero.
No.
Punch-Out.
No.
That's my highest hope. I would love it. I would love it. I know it's not going to happen. I'd love an outside Punch-Out game. Kid Icarus.
No.
Chibi Robo.
No.
I'm gonna say no for you in advance on this one. Advance Wars.
Yes.
You think so?
I don't know. No.
No way. Excite Bike.
No.
Or Excite Truck. No. Excite something.
Excite Truck. Wasn't that a Wii launch title?
Yeah.
Did anybody buy that? Anybody in chat? Did you buy Excite Truck?
I think people liked it. I think it was pretty well received.
I played it at a demo kiosk at GameStop, and I'm like, this game sucks.
I didn't play it. It's not my kind of game. How about Golden Sun?
I would love it if that happened. I just recently replayed through Golden Sun 1 on GBA, and I forgot how great it is. I forgot how emotional the music made me. That game was released at a weird time in my life, and I got all like emotional about that game. And I'm incredibly nostalgic for the Golden Sun franchise. So I would love to see that, but no.
We know Nintendo hasn't forgotten about it because Isaac continues to make appearances in Smash Brothers as assist trophies and spirits and stuff like that. But as far as the new game goes, I think you're right. How about Earthbound / Mother?
Maybe. Maybe
What
this
would
is
you
the year.
expect it to be? Like a Mother 3 port? You going that route? Because that's never happened.
Part of me feels like at this point they would release it on Nintendo Switch Online. Knowing Nintendo,
Japan,
they would do it temporarily too, just to piss people off.
I think the best hope of that is for it to be put on Nintendo Switch Online, Japan only, and then
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
people could, of course, access it through a Japanese profile, but it still would all be in Japanese. And since it's such a heavy text game, it wouldn't do you much good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm at a place where I would like to just see Nintendo do it just so people can shut up about it. I mean, if you wanted to play Mother 3 in English, at this point you could do it. There is amazing fan translations of it to the point where, honestly, if Nintendo was smart, they would
They just pay them.
they would pay them and say we're using this
Yeah.
because it's that good. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a maybe for this year because I've
All right.
predicted it every year since we've started doing this. So
And
I
I've
have to keep that
predicted
tradition
no
going.
every year. I'm gonna say no again on that. Here's my
right.
last one, and I actually think out of all of these, this one's the most likely. Nintendogs.
No.
All right, so
A
unfortunately for
a lot of no.
these absent franchises, none of them are going to see the light of day. I think you're probably right. They have not made an appearance on the Switch for a good reason. Most of them also didn't make an appearance on the Wii U. Most of them didn't make an appearance on the Wii,
Yeah.
although we did have an awesome Wii Punch-Out game, and it would be great if that franchise was not dead.
It's actually funny. Recently I stumbled on YouTube with the old live action Punch Out ads that they did,
Yeah,
and they were funny. I
so
don't think
good,
they'd get away
so
with them
funny.
nowadays because there's like a lot
yeah.
of stereotypes in it.
Yeah,
But they were good. They were pretty funny. Nintendo, I think in the Wii era, they were experimenting with some weird advertising.
yeah.
And
That was
some of it
a
hit,
really
some of it
unusual
didn't hit.
campaign. Yeah, that is funny.
Oh, somebody wants to know Rhythm Heaven. Ricky
Oh.
wants to know Rhythm Heaven.
Oh, Ricky, I think the Switch is a really good fit for Rhythm Heaven. But if I had to predict whether or not I thought we were going to see a Rhythm Heaven game, I would say probably not.
Probably not. That's sad. Tomodachi Life.
Miitopia is so good.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. I think that Tomodachi Life probably caters to a pretty similar crowd. I don't know that that game would have as much appeal to me. I don't think that it's a game that has as strong of a narrative. It doesn't have the same sort of
it's better.
push forward.
It's
Really?
better. In my opinion, it's better.
Does it have a story to it?
It doesn't. It doesn't. You make your own story for the most part. My daughter watched Happily Candied watch it or play it, and said, "I need this game." So she used her own money, got an eShop card, picked it up, and she loves it. And
Wow.
it's just a quirky, funny game, and I would love to see Nintendo bring that over with the insanely amazing Mii Maker they have in Miitopia.
I just can't even believe it. I still can't believe those Miis.
In fact, I would like to see Nintendo say, for Mario Kart, we're going to let you bring over your insane, crazy Mii from this new Mii Maker. The same with Smash.
Oh, man, if they put that in Smash, every character that ever existed ever in time would be in the game.
And that's probably why they're not going to do it.
Probably, because you'd have all people who have butts for heads.
Yeah.
People come up with all sorts of obscene things that keep us
it
from
would get
having
pretty
nice
insane.
stuff.
Oh, WarioWare. People are asking. I mean, Nintendo recently put out a survey asking if you'd pay $50 for a WarioWare game.
Yeah, Wario hasn't been that dead in the water. We did get WarioWare Gold on the 3DS not too long ago, and that was a fantastic game. It was so good that I'm surprised they put it out on the 3DS. It was fully voiced. Like, Wario did more talking in that game than Mario has ever done in all of his games combined. I was shocked at the amount of production put into that basically a compilation title. If they just took that and put it onto Switch, I think that it would sell amazingly well. I'd buy it again. That game was super good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And one of our writers, was it Jackson? I'm trying to remember who wrote the article about the WarioWare on Switch and why it needs to happen. Stand by. I gotta look this up. Here we go. It's called "The Nintendo Switch Needs a WarioWare Game." This is from Reese. So Reese Heather, one of our writers. Um, the Switch is made for WarioWare.
Yeah.
It is absolutely tailor made for WarioWare. In fact, you can just indulge me here. 1-2 Switch was the poor man's WarioWare.
Yeah. It's so poor. That was like the
Yeah,
dumpster WarioWare.
1-2 Switch is however you feel about it. If you think it's bad, if you think it's good, whatever. But 1-2 Switch did some innovative things with the Joy-Con that no other game has done since. There
Yeah.
was one game where you had to guess how many balls were in the Joy-Con by just moving it back and forth, and you could feel them moving back and forth. And I remembered playing that at a demo event before the Switch came out, and I'm like, this is innovative. This is cool. Nobody's ever done this before. I can't wait to see what people are going to do with this. And nobody's ever done anything with it since.
Yeah, it's cost prohibitive. Like that technology is impressive,
Yeah.
but to have all the R&D that goes into trying to integrate that into a game is extremely expensive.
That's why
and
let
it would
Nintendo do it in the simplest way possible with WarioWare.
Yeah. That WarioWare is a good way because instead of having to create a big game experience around all these unusual controller things, like Labo in another way,
Yeah.
is this where it takes each of those little capabilities of the Joy-Con and it highlights it with a specific mini game or a specific task, and WarioWare can do that.
Yeah.
And they showcased that with the Wii version. I think the best, to me, the best WarioWare game that there ever was the one on Wii,
Yeah.
where you use the Wiimote in all manner of different ways and all manner of different poses. I brought a lot of non-gamers to my Thanksgiving celebrations for
Yeah.
I think 5 years in a row, and we would play WarioWare for hours. And these people had no experience with gaming.
Yeah.
They picked it up and everyone was in tears laughing, having such a great time. There hasn't been a game released by Nintendo or any other company before or since that I have found has had the broadest appeal amongst non-gamers, people who are not initiated into the gaming scene. I have been able to galvanize to play WarioWare for Wii the most.
I would say
No,
Wii
not
Sports,
Mario
but
Kart.
I think that's close.
Wii Sports, except Wii Sports has a cap of how many people who can play at one time. WarioWare let you play 12 people.
Yeah.
So I would have 12 people in one room. Yeah, Wii Fit would be, I'm sorry, Wii Sports would be close, but depending on what game you're playing, I think bowling is really the one that probably has
Yeah.
the broadest appeal. If it's not bowling, it's probably two-player. Boxing was useless for party events.
No one played boxing. It
No
was
one played
boxing. Bowling, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Wii
bowling.
bowling single-handedly got my family to stop talking about politics and religion. Like,
Yeah,
it was
there you
great. It was
go.
just fun. But the same with WarioWare. Like, WarioWare is just a blast.
Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about religion. Let's bowl on the Wii.
Yes, exactly that. So we've talked Splatoon, we've talked Metroid, we've talked potentially re-releasing some Zelda games. We talked Amiibo, we talked Smash Bros, we talked Mario Kart. Before we move on to the last topic, which is Breath of the Wild 2, did you have any other predictions? Anything? Any Hail
One
Marys?
more. I have one more prediction, and it is I don't want to say it's a super Hail Mary, but one of the things going back and looking at all of these. All right, here's just one little one and one big one.
Okay.
So here's my little one. I already mentioned that we're looking at the soft reset of the Switch. They're going back to the well, and they're kind of recycling their titles.
Yeah.
We're ready for Kirby, we're ready for Donkey Kong, but there's another title who's overdue for a sequel, and that is ARMS. And I think it's going to be called ARMS Plus Legs.
Oh no. Is that your little
All
one
right.
or the big one?
That's my little
Okay,
one.
that's your little one.
And my big one is Nintendo has really made an effort to be experimental
Yeah.
on the Switch since it began. We had things like Labo, where they're trying to find new ways for people to be able to explore and interact with this console. I think we're going to see something new and experimental. I don't know what it's going to be. It might be a new franchise, like ARMS was, or something along those lines, or it might be a new experience like Labo. But I think it's going to be something that nobody could have predicted because nobody knows about because it doesn't exist yet. And this is going to be bringing something new Nintendo into the world.
All right. I have two predictions as well. One is I guess a BS prediction, knowing Nintendo, this is what's going to happen. Both new fighters are going to be Fire Emblem for Smash.
Oh, dude, I wish you didn't even put it out there because the last time that we said that,
It
it
happened.
manifested into reality.
Yeah.
I can't
The
believe you
second
said
thing is something I'd like to see, and I think Nintendo typically ends their show with a showstopper during E3. Something like something's coming, right? We had that with Breath of the Wild 2 years ago. Last year was different. E3 was just very different last year, so I don't think we had anything major.
there
I
was
do,
no E3 last year.
yeah, it was. We had a direct around the same time, but it was not anything officially E3. I think this year it's going to end with a very similar thing that Breath of the Wild 2 did, and it's going to be the sequel to Super Mario Odyssey is currently in development. And I would love to see it. I honestly am shocked that we didn't get DLC for Odyssey 2. I thought Nintendo would want to get that money, but the more I thought about it, why waste time developing smaller DLC when you can just put out a sequel on the same engine? Very little that needs to change. Make Luigi a playable character, co-op, something like that. But I would like to see Mario Odyssey 2. Then one more thing is the Final Fantasy Pixel Collection. They got announced at the Square Enix conference. They announced it for mobile and for Steam. I think they did that intentionally, and I think they are going to let Nintendo announce that it's also coming to Switch in like a 6-pack. So I would love to see that. But those are my hopes for.
I think that
the first thing that wasn't a
you're
hope.
you're probably right about. You're probably close to right on all three. I curse you for bringing into existence that there's going to be another Fire Emblem fighter because I think it's highly likely now that there is. And then as far as Mario Odyssey goes, I think one of the best showstoppers that they could do is to reveal the next installment in the 3D Mario series because that game, whatever it is, I do feel like is probably far off, both because we had a pretty big Mario year last year and you don't want people to have too much Mario fatigue.
But let them know it's coming.
Letting them know it's coming is probably pretty good. I personally think it's more likely that they're going to move away from Odyssey and try to create a new experience for Mario than that they would continue along those lines. If we were going to get an Odyssey 2, I feel like we would have already heard about it. I feel like it would have already been announced. Instead, I think maybe it's more likely it's something like a Galaxy 3 or that it's a completely new Mario. But I do think some sort of tease about whatever the next Mario is, it would be a showstopper. That is kind of the one more thing.
Yeah.
Thing that I would expect at the end of this, and the timing, as we said, is right for something like that. And then the last thing, I think it's a no-brainer. I think those Final Fantasy titles are coming to the Switch, just like that.
I have been dying for a true pixel version, widescreen of those games for a long time. They re-released them on mobile, but they were garbage. Like they completely changed the look of those games, and when Square Enix at the Square Enix conference showed off the pixel games, like these pixel re-releases they're calling them, I was so excited until they said mobile and Steam. So the more I think about it, the more I think we're going to see more about that during the direct tomorrow. But let's talk Zelda.
Yeah, man.
Let's end this with Breath of the Wild 2. I think you and I are in the same place that we both think this is coming. Or not coming.
Well,
we at least confirmed or announced tomorrow.
Yeah,
and by announced, I mean a name or a release date or anything.
Yeah,
really.
We talked about it a little bit in our last podcast, but to quickly recap where I'm at with it, I think we're going to see more of it. I think it's going to be probably a more in-depth cinematic trailer that might reveal something about what the story is or the core premise. I think gameplay is questionable. I don't know that we're actually going to see any gameplay. I think that it will be. At first, I wasn't sure if we were going to receive a release date or a release window, but now I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident about release date. And I think that date is going to be near the anniversary of the original Breath of the Wild and near the anniversary of the release of the original Switch. And I think it is going to be day and date with whatever the next iteration of the Switch is, Super Switch or Switch Pro.
Which would make sense. It would be a system, especially if they could showcase some form of like improved visuals Like if they can
Yeah.
show us a side-by-side comparison, I think that would be a system seller for sure.
It's very hard to get lightning to strike in the same place twice, but I think if you were trying to do that, recreating the conditions that led to the first strike would be a good way to set yourself up for success. And in no small part, Switch was successful because of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I would stake everything on the Switch's success being 100% connected to a Wii U port that was released day and date. Breath of the Wild is the reason why people were buying a Switch. It's the reason people were talking about a Switch.
Yeah.
People were not buying it for a rehash of Mario Kart. They discovered that this is a game that is really amazing and is worth buying. But the reason why people bought it was they wanted Breath of the Wild and they didn't already own a Wii U.
Or 1-2 Switch. One of the two.
It was one of the two. Definitely one of the two.
Okay. Prediction for you. So this is for you. Name. What's it going to be called?
I remember last time I was a little bit like you caught me off guard, and I would say I haven't given it much thought, but I still think it's going to in some way relate to a mysterious past that we don't know about, and it's probably going to be something that's as hard to hold on the tongue as Breath of the Wild was. When Breath of the Wild was first announced, I remember I was actually holding the camera for Happily Candied, your wife.
Yeah.
And she was trying to do like an on-the-spot little news snippet right in front of the Nintendo display.
Yeah.
And she's like, here I am standing at E3 in front of the Breath of Fire display. Breath of the Wind.
I thought it was Breath of the Wind for a bit.
I know.
I thought it was Call of the Wild.
Call of the Wild, Breath of the Wind. It was so hard to hold on the tongue that it took me about 6 months to even be able to say Breath of the Wild without questioning whether or not I said the right title. So I think whatever the title is, it's going to be equally confounding to the tongue. And it's going to take the tongue a little bit of a while to adjust to it. At first, I thought it was going to be like Whispers of a Forgotten Age or like Whispers of the Past. But then I realized there's already Zelda games that have age and past in the title. And I haven't been able to come up with something that I think is as equally awkward as Breath of the Wild. So I liked your suggestion of like Second Breath.
Second Breath, yeah. I've changed my mind a bit though. I think it's going to be called The Legend of Zelda Rocket Castle.
Sorry.
I mean, I think that is something that could actually happen.
All right, so here's my official one. Breath of the Wild, Whispers of the Deep.
Whispers of the Deep.
Yeah.
But the rocket castle went up, not down.
Yeah. But when the whispering starts, it's full of a lot of hot air, so it pushes the castle up.
Got it. Okay. Realistically, I think they're going to either use the word breath or wild in it.
What if it was Depths of the Wild?
Depths of the Wild. I'd like that. I could get behind that.
Legend of Zelda Depths of the Wild.
You know, in the little 30-second teaser that we got, I feel like they were really showcasing the Ganon or the Ganondorf character, if that's who it is.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders if they're going to try to incorporate that into it. Whispers. You said Whispers of the Past. Is that what you said?
That was one of my many whispers, but
Lauren's in chat. Hi, Lauren. Hi, honey.
Deep
Whispers is her thought.
Deep Whispers.
Deep Whispers.
My official one is Whispers of the Deep.
Whispers of the Deep.
Yeah.
Not Breath of Fire.
No, but that's what we thought. Well, everyone kept saying Breath of Fire and Call of the Wild. Those were the two most common conflated titles of Breath of the Wild.
Can you do? Is there surveys you can do in YouTube chat now? I can't remember. I need chat.
I love Ricky Berg's Legend of Zelda Three Houses. That's a good one.
The Fire Emblem Zelda crossover you never knew you wanted.
Weirdly, though, that is the Zelda game that I always wanted, where you get to play from the perspective of Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, and each pillar of the Triforce has a section of the story that all converge at the end. That's really a Zelda game that I've dreamed about forever, where you play through like a third of it as Link, and then he gets into like this precarious situation. Then you shift focus to Zelda, and you play her to the same critical point, and then you switch to Ganon, and then as the three Triforce bearers converge, your story is somewhat unified. That's a game that I've always felt like was ripe for the developing, but I think it's going to take something quite extraordinary for Nintendo to break away from playing as Link as your primary and sole protagonist with these possible variations like you got in Spirit Tracks, where you do sort of control Zelda. She's sort of a companion character, and sometimes people follow Link around. But outside of the spin-off titles like Hyrule Warriors, I don't know if Nintendo's quite ready to pull the trigger on letting us play as Zelda or Ganon or another character in the proper sense.
Yeah. I
am predicting co-op, though. Co-op for this game. I think that there will be a Luigi's Mansion or Mario Odyssey style co-op option where you have a second player who can play in a limited capacity that will be able to control something. Maybe it's a fairy. Maybe it's like, I guess the highest hope would be Zelda, but it could be something like maybe what Wolf Link was to Link in the first one. But you'll be able to have a second player who can contribute to the adventure in some reduced capacity.
I can't believe that we're potentially 12 hours away from getting more information on this. It's been 2 years.
You know what? The people are dropping some amazing titles in here.
I have one final title prediction, by the way. Here's what I think is going to happen. They're going to have this epic trailer. It's going to be amazing. And then the screen is going to go black. And then we're going to hear this.
What if it was Legend of Zelda Breath of Life?
Breath of Life. I could get behind that too. Breath of Life. I like that. Not as much as Careless Whisper.
I think Careless Whisper is so good.
I do like that. What does chat have? What do they have? Breath of the COVID.
You know what? I know there are a lot of great Breath of the Wild sequel titles here, but I actually think it's not the only title reveal we're going to get. I think that the Animal Crossing DLC will also have a title. You know how the update for New Leaf was Welcome Amiibo?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Animal Crossing New Horizons The Rise of Agnes.
The Rise of Agnes. I'm gonna read through some of these. So we have Pandora Rose saying The Descent, Depths of Malice we have from Slip 324, Depths of Darkness from Splash of Color.
Yeah, there's some good ones on here.
Let's see what else we have. Bad Hair Day.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you, Tony. I like that one too.
Ricky Berg, a wordsmith extraordinaire, came up with this gem. The Return of the Curse of the Creature's Ghost.
Yeah, I could see that. Is that an acronym for anything?
I also like his other one, Breath of the Four Minish Masks Awakening of Gamelon.
I like that one too. I do think we need some Wand of Gamelon love. I really do.
I hope never.
It's still fun.
Aaron Sosa, I hope I said that right. Legend of Zelda Ganon's Demise.
Ganon's Demise, I like that.
It has a little bit of a play on words there because it's the possessive of demise. So it could be like Demise, the character as it relates to Ganon, but also the story of his death and then resurrection. That actually has a lot of poetic, like it seems like it's just somewhat of a bland word, but it can be quite poetic when you consider it in context of there's an actual character named Demise with a very strong link to Ganon. I like that.
I mean, we haven't really had any other like plays on the Rocket Castle because I just want to point this out one more time. There's a rocket castle in this game. There's a castle that is rocketing to space.
You know what this reminds me of something that you noticed in the Zelda E3 where we got to do the playthrough that nobody else noticed.
Oh, that UFO thing? That turned out to be a
you,
beast.
you were like, hey, I swear I saw a spaceship in the back that looked like something straight out of Star Fox.
Yeah.
And nobody else was saying anything about it. Nobody was reporting about it. Now we know it was Divine Beast Von Meadow, which, like, Eagle Eye Amiibo Jason saw it back there
I
in
tried
his
to
game.
get on that, so we had 30 minutes to play the game. I was trying to launch myself into the sky to land on it. I wasted most of my demo trying to do something stupid like that.
But at least you had a cool, memorable experience. One of the funniest things about that demo was how everybody who played it walked away with something totally different.
Yeah.
Like I happened to have
hated it.
I hated it. I didn't even see an enemy. I had like the deadest possible world. I walked around for a while. I'm like, this is a physics demo.
Yeah.
This is doing is like showing me how Link moves in this game. There's nothing to do. I'm bored. But if I would have ran in a different direction, I would have had a totally different experience, which in a demo context where you only have 30 minutes, it was obnoxious and it left a very sour taste in my mouth. But when you're actually playing the game, that's one of its like principal virtues. No matter which way you go, you're going to have a different experience. And so you have millions of players on release date just taking off, all doing totally different things. It made the game in a lot of ways spoiler proof.
Yeah.
Because usually with Zelda games, like as soon as somebody starts talking about it, I cover my ears and I start singing la 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 la. But in this game, because the game was so vast and none of the experiences that people were having directly related to the story, nothing was spoiling anything. Yeah. It was just somebody was like, I was walking in this direction and I kept going and I ran into this huge beast that had the head of a lion. And then I landed on it and I was riding it. And I was like, what? What? You can do that? And I did this, that, and the other thing. So people are having this shared community in these disparate experiences with this game, and so talking about it was like being a kid on the schoolyard again. And I wonder if Nintendo can recreate that magic for this game, or if they are going to be forced into a situation where it has to be a little bit more linear, where talking about it would be something you might want to avoid.
Yeah. I'm excited. 13 hours.
Yeah, man.
Hours.
You at least get to sleep through most of it. I've got to be like agonizing, counting down the hours.
I got an 8-month-old, so no, that's not going to happen.
Good point.
I'll be on the couch at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, like trying to calm her down. So, yeah, there's no sleep. Either way, I'm hyped. I'm ready to go. We had an hour and a half of fantastic discussion. Hopefully, once we actually get some news, you and I can come back maybe next week and do this again.
Yeah.
I like this format more. I like the idea of just talking live instead of doing the podcast format. I mean, we can talk live and still put it up as a podcast, but
totally.
If you guys like what you're hearing here, we have a podcast we put out on Apple Podcast. Not as often as we used to since my second daughter was born, but we still do it. It's called the Nintendo Wirecast. You can find it on Apple. It's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, Android, I mean, all the major podcast platforms. But TJ, where can the folks at home find you?
If you don't know, I do a weekly news and variety show here that airs every Friday called Me Weekly. So you can certainly check me out there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at Custom Conquest.
Then for Nintendo Wire, you can obviously find us over at nintendowire.com, where our team is doing some amazing things. I'm not doing nearly as much on Nintendo Wire from the editorial side as I used to. We have Happily Candied, Lauren, my wife, who's really doing a whole lot. We have Ricky Berg, we have Jennifer Birch, we have some amazing writers that are doing some just absolutely phenomenal things. From time to time, I'm still putting out videos, so right here on this YouTube channel, you can find some of the videos that I put out. And then, of course, we are on Twitter at NinWire and at Amiibo News.
And I just want to take a quick second to thank all of the writers on Nintendo Wire and congratulate them for the amazing job that they're doing, because I am doing a weekly show where I'm pulling some of these top headlines, and very often I am going through their articles and perusing them for a succinct summary of what happened in the week in Nintendo news. Ricky Berg, I quote you all the time on the show, so I don't know if you...
He's a very quotable man.
He's so quotable, and he has a way with words that distills it into this beautiful presentation that, if left to my own devices, I would not have been able to summarize. So much appreciation, and thank you for all the hard work you guys do over there. There's a lot of talent. Happily Candied is killing it also.
And I just want to say thank you for everybody watching. If you're new and you never saw this before, if you want to subscribe, it's free. We put out content all the time. Honestly, we were averaging about 140, 150 people, which was great. I mean, I love always having one of these to an audience, so that's fantastic. So again, if you were here the entire time, thank you very much. It was a blast, and hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Yeah, I love you guys. I see a lot of the same names that watch the content that we release. So much appreciation, all of you guys.
Rock and roll. Until next time, guys, stay wired in.
Thanks for playing.